Welcome to another episode of Grind Culture Podcast. I am Ed.
And I am Colton.
And today we're going to talk about health. And Colton, you were so kind to send me over the podcast to listen to, which I did, and I thoroughly enjoyed. I want to say 95% of the things I listened to it. There's one gripe that I had on it, and it's not a big gripe because these guys that you sent me the podcast of, one of them is James Hoffman, right?
Yep.
World-renowned coffee expert in all things coffee. I don't know the gentleman's name of whose podcast it was. Could you enlighten us on who that was?
I actually don't know his name.
I'll tag it somewhere. But they were very gentle voice, Englishmen, it seemed like. And then there was a scientist, a third gentleman that just does research not only on coffee, but on many other things. Yeah. And so I think I want to touch base on a lot of that and I don't know, did you have a chance to listen to it?
Yeah, I listened to it. Probably like 3/4 of it until they started like getting off topic. So I
learned a bunch of things on that podcast in particular, and I'm sure there's a lot more to learn, but it was kind of, as we jump into today's topic, health related and the benefits of coffee and health and your body. Three factors that I would like to get into is, one, caffeine. What does caffeine mean to the body? What does caffeine mean to everybody in everyday life? Two, fiber. It seems like they touched a lot on fiber and the low key nutrients of fiber that you get from coffee. And also just how we interpret health in our daily lives. Coffee or uncoffee related. And I think that's where I'd like to start. Okay. One, how's your weekend? Let's talk health. Did you do anything healthy lifestyle, anything health or for you this weekend that could relate to today's episode?
I did a lot of relaxing, so for mental health that was good.
Good.
But I also went to the gym both days, so that was good for physical health. I went to the pool with the girls. That was sweet.
Yes.
And just had them go swimming and stuff like that.
Thanks for the invite. He invites me a lot of places, by the way, and I feel so bad when I have to say no. I tell Lindsay all the time, but Lindsay and I are in this thing where, like, okay, weekends are for us. If we have something to do, we'll do it. We like planning ahead. So Colton is one of the gentlemen that love to include his friends. It seems like it per my view of you. Oh yeah. It just seems like you are you're an inviting person. Yeah. So every time I have to send working on that text, I break down and sweat almost. Like, I hate saying no, especially to
it's no pressure.
Guys like you or any of my friends really. But you were nice enough to invite me to the pool time, taking the girls swimming. Excellent way of exercise.
Out in the sun, so that was nice. Saturday we went to a coffee shop, so we got to just enjoy some good coffee at a Bode. I went to go see Cameron, but he actually took the day off.
No kidding.
Yeah, for his wife's birthday. So
okay,
understandable.
Yeah.
The coffee was still great, so
I'm sure it was. What did you have?
Cinnamon honey latte.
Yep. One of the other things that I kind of was curious about, like health related coffee topics, to what you actually add to your coffee. How does that counteract the health benefits and all of that? So again, we'll get into that later.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I'm glad you had a good weekend out in the sun. I got some sun as well. Worked out in the garden, cleaned up the house. That was kind of a therapeutic, healthy way of just organizing my life, in particular the house that I live in. Lindsay and I have worked really hard to get our backyard to how we want it. It's not perfect, and I don't think it ever will be. I think you will be a house owner here soon.
Fingers crossed.
But I know you can do it. If there's anybody that can, it's you. Owning a house is a job in itself. It's time consuming, and it takes up a lot of your time, obviously, but it takes up a lot of your ability to do other things, because it just, if there's not an improvement you want to do on, there's fixes, there's checkups, there's just things that you have to do consistently with the house. But anyways, I got to, I got down to the nitty gritty of working and organizing my backyard. It was getting hot, so I thought it was a perfect time to do it. Got some sun. However, with that came some consequences, and that is allergy season is upon us right now. And all day yesterday and today, my allergies went through the roof. And we were driving even like on some of the streets in our town, and I saw pollen everywhere. And when I see that, all of a sudden my allergies go into high gear. Which stinks, but that's the season we're in right now. We're in spring, and that's what it is. But
we live around a lot of vineyards and all that stuff, so it's all over the air. You can't get away from it.
The wind tunnel that we get through the mountains into Temecula Valley is insane. Every night. Crazy. Yeah, so I had a good weekend spending time outside with my daughter, my wife, our dog. Our dog seems really happy. So yeah, busy weekend for us at home, luckily. So when we were done with work, we were able to just go inside, enjoy some tea, enjoy some coffee, whatever it was. So
nice. Yeah,
it was good.
Well, I'm glad you made it here today.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
because there was a little mix up of me forgetting the equipment that we use here.
Yeah, so. He brought himself, but he showed up without the gear. So
that's how eager I was to get here.
Yeah, you're so excited.
Yeah,
but I did make you a nice Colombia Americano.
Americano.
Yep, washed Colombia. Just our in-house Colombia that we have right now. So that's what we're using. And then I made myself a washed Costa Rica Americano. So both delicious. Mine's a little lighter than yours.
Oh, is it?
Medium.
So Costa Rica Colombian. Very nice. So I think this is a good segue as far as the benefits that we get of drinking coffee. So I'll start with this. Listening to the podcast, I'll start with the caffeine side of it. And how does caffeine even go into coffee? How does it produce within the coffee bean, and so on and so forth? And I didn't know this, but they mentioned that it is a defense mechanism that the plant goes through. So animals or insects,
especially insects,
don't pollinate through them or harvest them or even eat them. No idea that that's how caffeine was made. I don't know. I don't even know that. I don't think so, because there's caffeine found in like tea plants and different kind of tea variables.
Well, they mentioned too, caffeine in almost all plants is for that reason. So that's kind of why the plant itself produces that caffeine to keep the pests away, and it's pretty much survival for the plant. So
yeah, I had no idea,
which is pretty cool.
Which I had two train of thoughts on that. One, plants, I think, and this is kind of like a science fiction kind of take on it. What is to say that coffee eventually won't evolve so humans aren't able to utilize coffee in a way that we do? I know plants obviously don't know, like they don't know that we roast coffee beans or whatever. Coffee plants, coffee cherries, they're a living organism. They adapt. Obviously they adapted to make up the caffeine content so bugs don't eat them. What's to say like they don't try to make something up for like farming or harvesting? That's kind of like a interstellar, like kind of loopy way of like where my mind went. I was like, oh yeah, what would happen if that
like
happened,
the plant itself?
Yeah, because there's defense mechanisms against us.
Well, if you think about it, if caffeine, and this just kind of is a thought I had, my answer to that would be, well, if you do drink a certain amount of caffeine, you will die. Like if you drink a crazy amount all at one time, like if you just take like a whole bottle full of pure caffeine pills, you're gonna die. Yeah. So I mean, to a sense,
that does work.
It does work.
Yeah. I guess plants just don't make enough of it for us for it to be harmful to us.
Right.
But going back to that, caffeine.
Yeah.
Caffeine in particular, we know how it's made now. What it does to our body, which I also didn't know. Again, a lot of this I didn't know until just recently, just listening to the podcast episode. It releases a microbial, something like that. Okay, and we're back. Sorry, there was
the AC pump
the AC
in the building. It
the
just
AC was
started going crazy on us.
Yeah, made a distracting noise. Anyways, caffeine. Caffeine it releases a microbial substance in our body that's already dormant in our body, not at a young age, but that we develop through age.
Yep. In your gut.
In our gut. That helps with fiber. It helps with lowering blood
pressure.
And cholesterol.
It also helps you with heart disease. So when you do drink, and it's not the caffeine, it's the coffee itself. It's the fibers that when you do brew coffee, it's the fibers that are in the coffee. It's not the caffeine itself. So, and what they do talk about is decaf coffee is the same as regular. So the caffeine alone is its own thing. The only thing caffeine is in coffee is it's more of just like the drug part, the stimulant part, the part that gives you energy, the part that gets your brain functioning at a higher rate.
Yeah.
And it's also just like good for your blood flow. So in that sense, it's good, and it's proven that it reduces the risk of heart disease or heart attacks by 25% if you consume 3 cups a day. And you don't have to. I mean, there's other ways of doing that, but if you do drink, your standard good cup of coffee, then there is those good side effects.
Yeah, and again, like you said, you don't have to do it, but there was an instance where coffee was frowned upon for health reasons alone. They said caffeine's not good for you, it energizes you too much, it's harmful to your body, until studies recently, given the circumstances of time in general, recently we've come to find out that that's absolutely not true, that coffee is actually good for you. Obviously, if you drink it in high quantities, can't take too much caffeine throughout the day because it'll do things to you in ways that you're not supposed to take anything in high quantity.
Right.
But coffee is proven to be a good substance for you as far as fiber intake and caffeine and microbiomes to reduce that cholesterol, reduce that blood pressure. So that is a kind of like a myth bust kind of thing that coffee is bad for you. It's not. It's good for you.
Right. And I think one thing that they didn't hit on was the person themselves. So, I mean, everybody's going to be different. So us talking about the health benefits of coffee is based off a good quality coffee, first of all.
Yeah.
You can't take a bad quality coffee and relate it to the stuff we're talking about because you're not going to get the same same things you do out of your really good quality coffee that we've talked about before. There's that, and then there's also, they didn't mention like how you drink your coffee.
Yeah.
So we're talking about black coffee, straight up black coffee. As soon as you add any additives to your coffee, especially sugar-based or oil-based, delete everything we're talking about because those health benefits go away.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's another thing I wanted to mention is that very thing, same thing happened to me recently. You and I know that I enjoy latte. You probably enjoy latte. You had one at Abode. Yep. And I'm working on my latte art. And for that, I just found that whole milk is easier to practice with than oat milk or any other type of milk substance.
Yeah, it's the best one, steam. Yeah, because it's got the most fat in it.
So there was a good 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe even a month that I was buying whole milk consistently and using it for my lattes at home. And just recently, I kind of had a gut scare or just an internal digestive scare that sent me to the doctor or emergency care. And I didn't know what it was. I thought it could have been UTI, or I thought it could have been something in my colon, and even doctor said this could be something in your intestines, in my intestine area, or my kidneys, whatever. When that kind of thing happens to you, when not used to something that's in your body, and just all of a sudden starts happening, your brain goes, at least for me, it goes in many different ways. And I don't know, I just want to know what's wrong with me, right? So finally I went to my primary doctor, my primary care, and they told me, it was like, okay, have you been, because I sent in lab work, and they didn't find anything abnormal. Yeah. And they're like, okay, what's your diet like? I go, well, my diet's this and that and this, and I would drink a coffee. He was like, well, how do you take your coffee?
Mm-hmm.
I go, well, there's many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was kind of leading into like caffeine or all the coffee that you're drinking is bad for you.
Right.
But I told him, well, I have lattes. I was like, he goes, well, are you lactose intolerant? I
Mm-hmm.
go, I think so. I don't know. I mean, he was like, well, have you been drinking milk all your life? And I said, no, that's actually just recently I've been drinking a lot of oat milk, but now I'm drinking a lot of whole milk. He
Mm-hmm.
goes, well, there you go. I mean, like, there's all the signs are there that you have a lactose intolerance. So they did a little bit more testing on me, and I have severe lactose intolerance. And
Mm-hmm.
again, it's just for the fact that I've been using it in my coffee, and the benefits of coffee is kind of negated by the fact that I've been taking it with whole milk.
Yep.
And so that very thing happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's absolutely good benefits to having coffee.
Yeah.
But make sure you're not adding all the sugar that people add to it. I mean, you could if you like it that way.
Yeah, go ahead. But if you're doing it just to, get the caffeine boost, and that's how you enjoy your cup of coffee, then go for it.
Yeah. So my question to you is, how do you typically, when you're drinking your cup of coffee, what do you want from it? Is there different ways that you take coffee, like how you enjoy coffee? Do you want a good latte? Do you want a good drink, sugary, or do you want a good black coffee? How do you take it? How do you see or try to find the health benefits in coffee when you're drinking coffee throughout the day?
Yeah, I do like the health benefits, and I do drink it for the health benefits. I also do like the caffeine kick from it. I feel like I'm a lot more energized, and I'm on top of my game when I'm, highly caffeinated, and especially if I'm doing, anything outside, work related or sports related. I love having caffeine in my system.
Yeah.
It's kind of like creatine to me, where it's like a performance drug almost.
Yeah.
So my brain, body, everything feels good. And then especially like when I'm sweating, I know that I'm sweating it out, and it's not just sitting, and that's just, black cup of coffee. So I do like the health benefits. I lean towards just black coffee. That's my go-to.
Yeah.
Only if it's good quality and light roast and, good coffee that we search for. That's how I take my coffee.
Yeah.
Usually I drink it I usually drink it hot. Later in the day, I'll drink it cold. I don't drink a lot of decaf, I guess, but maybe I should, because after I did listen to that study, it was like, oh, cool. Like maybe I should have a cup of decaf, just black decaf at night. Why not? If it is healthy for my heart and stuff, then go for it.
Yeah.
As long as it's not keeping me awake, then there's no really downfall.
Right.
But when I do venture outside of black coffee, I do like to get your latte or your cortado or something like that. But I always only use whole milk if I get it. I kind of stay away from oat milk and almond milk and all that stuff, because there's usually a lot of sugar or oils that are added into it. It's really rare if you find, stuff that's just pure and doesn't have additives to it. So I stay away from those, because I know whole milk is whole milk at least, and I don't have any issues with dairy as of yet. So
and I hope that you don't, because it's miserable. That's kind of my struggle right now, is trying to find a good substitute, because I do have oat milk, but as fads go and time goes on, there's new discoveries and things, right? And so people, like, for example, like people started, keto diets were a big thing. They do have their benefits, but there's also not so good benefits to
there's a lot of fats,
diet, right?
That's bad for your organs.
So again, like oat milk, almond milk, and all those substitutes, you would think like, oh yeah, if I'm lactose, like I could drink that instead and still get some benefits, health benefits. No, that's wrong. There's actually things that aren't good for you in a lot of the oat milks that are produced, especially because it's a growing brand. It's a growing market. So people want to source it quicker. They don't want to just wait, or however they produce it. I'm not quite entirely sure, but I just know, I've heard and read that oat milk is not as good for you as whole milk would be. Yeah. So that's kind of my struggle right now, but I'm on the venture of trying to find something, because I do enjoy a good latte, and I know a lot of the latte art and latte substitutes have oat milk in it. So
Yeah. And it, like, even if you're drinking it on the weekends or something like that, the oils aren't gonna, you know, mess with you too much. And if you have like a generic, good, healthy lifestyle and diet, like your body's just gonna digest it and you'll be good to go.
Right.
I'm not totally against it. I'm totally against it if you're doing that every day, like 3 times a day. And you know, it's like, come on.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree.
So if I do, on top of that, if I do add any sweeteners to that latte, I stay away from like syrups. So I stay away from vanilla and, you know, caramel lattes and all that stuff. Like, oh, house-made syrups. Like, it's just boiled down cane sugar with some, you know, flavoring in it. They always try like spicing it up on the menu. Like, oh, we make all of our syrups in house. You know, it sounds like cute and fun and, you know, healthy, but no. So if I do add any sweeteners, it's honey. It has to be like, not like a flavored honey, it's just 100% honey.
Yeah.
Cinnamon, even date syrup, or maple syrup, 100% maple syrup.
Yeah.
And that, like, right there, this is the best pairing when it comes to coffee.
I agree.
It's so good.
I started doing that actually. And we could talk about this. Tea. I've been, instead of drinking coffee at night, because ever since this happened, my lactose scare, I've been kind of trying to stay away from coffee, because every time I have coffee, I'll tend to have latte, if not black tea, or like just a black cup of coffee, right?
Yeah.
But tea, we were lucky enough to have tea in the warehouse now, and I've been bringing a lot of it home, and there's so many things that you could do with tea, and I still kind of get that feel of like, oh yeah, I'm kind of getting a little caffeine hit. If I don't want a caffeine hit, it's still a nice cup of tea, a nice something warm before bedtime, which is kind of like my ritual, is having something warm after dinner before bedtime.
Yeah, I'm doing that same thing too, especially with that hibiscus berry tea that we have. Oh, so good. It
is very good. Yeah, I made an Arnold Palmer with the tea that we had this weekend. I've made chai tea or chai, and I've made, I have plans to make a lavender mix with our lavender tea.
Cool.
So I've been doing that instead of doing coffee at night, and still kind of getting that caffeine hit that I like at night. Because another thing I wanted to touch up on is, like they kind of briefly mentioned it, is your eating habits and your lifestyle is also dependent on the amount of caffeine that people get, like people intake. Yeah. It's not always the same. If you have, I think they were mentioning broccoli, if you eat broccoli.
Or vegetables in general.
Vegetables in general, carbs in general, alcohol, you won't have the lasting effects of caffeine as somebody else that doesn't have those veggie intakes or the carb intakes. So I found that was interesting. Like your diet really is dependent on like the amount of caffeine that you take in. It's not just concrete. This is the caffeine that you're taking in. It's also in cahoots with what you're taking in as far as like food substances go. Yeah.
So I think they were saying that like a good healthy diet. So like if you're eating a lot of vegetables with coffee, and if you're eating like a lot of proteins with coffee, that's how you're really going to get the best benefits out of that cup of coffee. And then they were relating that to a smoker or someone that has bad diet, and that smoker or someone with bad diet needs to drink 2 to 3 times more caffeine than your normal person with a healthy lifestyle and diet to get the same benefits. Right. So that's why you actually see like a lot of smokers. And I think I was thinking about this when they were talking about, I was like, oh yeah, you do see like smokers, like they got like cigarette in one hand and like cup of coffee, and they're always like downing caffeine, and it's because they're not feeling it as much as someone that, you know, I could drink a small cup of coffee and feel it like almost immediately. Where say if I was a smoker, which I'm not, it would take probably 3 times more for me to get that same kick. And then on top of that, it's like, if you're smoking, I'm sorry to say this, but you're not doing coffee for the health benefits.
No way. In fact, smoking is a bad habit, and I'll say it now. I mean, if you're a smoker, stop smoking.
Yeah, do it.
It's not good for you.
Nope, it's not.
So yeah, that was something very interesting to me. I mean, I try to have a healthy eating style. There's days where I indulge in maybe like too much carbs, or maybe I'll enjoy a cookie or something, right? But caffeine, typically for me, I try to take it in a way where I do get that caffeine hit, and admittedly, if I don't, I kind of get a little bit of a headache. So I don't know if like I'm fully like. I wanted to ask you this.
Yeah.
So going to that,
Okay.
I do get headaches with caffeine if I don't have it, or the lack of caffeine, let's say.
Yeah.
To you, and I didn't get. I think I only got like 50 minutes into the podcast. Do you? I know you take like breaks from caffeine for like a month. I forget what month it's that you do it.
Usually the month of January or February, I'll take the whole month off of caffeine.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, run us through exactly as to why you decided to do that. Like, do you get headaches when you don't have caffeine? Is that a normal thing in your opinion? Is it just, I know it's kind of like, is that a way of your body telling you that you're kind of addicted, or is that just a thing that your body got used to and it's saying like, look, your body's telling you, look, we're not used to not you drinking caffeine.
Yep.
So we're going to give you a little needle in the head for a little bit. Why do you do it? What's your take on it?
Yeah, I do it strictly because I know I'm drinking too much coffee and I know my brain needs a break. I know my body's good, and it's, even though everything we're talking about right now, the health benefits are good for your gut and everything, my brain does need a break because it does stimulate your brain so much and your brain gets used to it.
Yeah.
You do get the headaches, and I get the headaches even right now. I'll get a caffeine headache once a day, and I'll need a pick me up to get rid of that headache, which is, it's not a bad, like, it's not going to lead to cancer or anything like that, but yeah, headaches suck, and I say that is a downfall of coffee. And if you do want, the health benefits of coffee without the headache, then decaf would be the way to go. Like, if you're strictly just drinking coffee for the health benefits, for the fiber, then go for it. But the reason why I did it to start was when I was in college, actually. I was like, gosh, I'm getting such gnarly headaches, and I was drinking so much caffeine a day. I was like, I just chose one February to kind of just do a water diet, just to like kind of reset my body. And it took me, when I do it takes me like 2 weeks to get rid of a headache, which is gnarly.
Yeah.
And I'm, I think I'm kind of healthy, and I think that I drink a lot of water and flush my body out. But even that, like, it took 2 weeks. It'll, like, if I stopped right now, it'd take 2 weeks to get rid of a headache. So I'd say that's a downfall.
Yeah. Is that like an addiction thing, you think, or is that just your body's like used to something and it doesn't?
Yeah, coffee is a drug, so you do get addicted to it. Your body gets used to waking itself. I mean, because you do have like that natural energy when you wake up, and your body produces energy, and it'll do it by itself. But as soon as your body gets hooked on caffeine or coffee or tea or whatever, just say caffeine, it learns to rely on that. To wake itself up. So your body kind of does have to reset. And I would say anybody that has caffeine headaches to always reset your body every now and then. Take a month off or whatever. Take however long it takes to get rid of those headaches, or drink 1 cup a day rather than 3, or just back off a little bit if you do experience gnarly migraines. And then also coffee and tea, everything with caffeine, it dehydrates your body. So you got to make sure to, I always like to say that if you drink 1 cup of coffee, drink 2 more parts water. So always make sure you're hydrated while I drink caffeine. And
very smart.
So that's why I do it.
That's good. I thought about doing that. I think you have a more disciplined mindset, whereas, and this goes back to just like you and your work ethic and your presence here. You could take a month off of caffeine and you're still operating in like the same level that you're doing. I don't know if you're hiding it well, but you're doing it. And I just don't have the ability to do that.
Hiding my headache, that's for sure.
So I got things to do throughout the day, and coffee does help me get through those days, admittedly. So I can never just stick to not having caffeine because of those headaches. But
you're addicted, man.
I am.
Got a problem.
And it's good. I won't quit. But I do enjoy the ritual, like I said, of having a coffee in the morning, a tea at night. So I don't. Yeah, it's an addictive thing. It's a holistic thing, right? Because it's grown on a plant.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it. I'll try it maybe one day. But right now I was able to cut down to 1 cup a day, given not today because we're drinking another cup. I already had a cup of coffee this morning, but Mondays usually I like to drink. I mean, going back to what you said, you intake caffeine and however way you do it to get like a boost throughout your day, or like if you're working out, you drink a cup of coffee. I like doing that when we're doing the podcast because it allows me to, okay, like my brain is focused on this one thing. I could talk to you and we could discuss something like health benefits on coffee. So that's why I like to drink coffee like now. Otherwise I'm just down to 1 cup a day.
Yeah.
And I think it's helping me with like my caffeine intake.
It's good.
Yeah. So, and I've been trying tea, caffeine-free tea, but another thing that they mentioned on the podcast was something I didn't like. And it was the fact that I appreciate this and I don't appreciate this at the same time. It's how serious they take coffee. Now, I think you should take coffee serious in a way where like you should know the benefits of it. You should go out of your way to like practice getting good farm practice coffee, right?
Yeah, like going to coffee shops that actually care about their
exactly.
product. Yes.
And you should care about like what milk you're taking or the benefits of like what you can substitute milk with if you have lactose intolerance or whatever.
Yeah.
But and I've seen this happen here, and it's good, but like when they were doing their coffee tasting on the podcast, he had a specific water that he brought, an alkalinized water, I think is how you pronounce it. Yeah. Which I know something about because that's what we used to drink that because it helps Lindsay with some of like her water intake with her health benefits. And he had certain beans and he had like a little machine that counted the caffeine content and the acidity content.
Yep.
And that was cool and all. Like I like that there's people out there that do that for you because it allows you to learn. But I don't think you should care. I mean, you're a coffee drinker like me.
Yeah.
I don't think I should care enough to. Maybe I should. I don't know. I don't think I should take it that serious because I just like the indulgence of coffee, right? But I do think it's important that people are like that. I just don't agree with the manner of like, no, this coffee needs to be drinking with this type of water. And I need to know how much caffeine is in it and acidity is in it. And I need to know the notes. It needs to be brewed right, he was mentioning. It needs to be ground right, which I do agree with. It does need to be ground right if you're trying to make something specific. I don't know. What's your take on like the like very like minimal things to make a perfect cup of coffee? Do you try to do it on your everyday life? Obviously, there's times where we go to coffee shops and I know they're not doing that. Maybe they are. I don't know. Or are you kind of like on my end of the spectrum where like coffee, take it for what it is. Don't get too anal about it. I mean, do it in the way that you like to do it.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
I think if you are competing, I think if you're doing a coffee experiment, I think if you're doing stuff for research for coffee, then yes, go for it. Use those tools, all that things. But if you're just your normal home drinker, I mean, just drink it how you want, really. When it comes to me, I don't care about, I mean, it's hard to say because I do care about the water that I use, mainly just because tap water is gross.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't do it to like show off the flavor profile of the coffee. And, you know, I'm not on that level where I'm just like a stinker about my coffee. It's more about just having clean water because that too, I mean, the water that you're using is going to be good for you. You don't want to be drinking tap water and have all this funk going on in your coffee. And especially like when you develop a palate for like notes in coffee and you want that brightness and that sweetness, then that tap water or the hardness that you find in a lot of waters, it will mess with it. And that's where a lot of those bitters come from. So yes, I guess I kind of am a stinker about it. But only if you're there. But if you're just serving coffee for your friends and stuff and everybody's not really caring, and if you just want to make a good cup of coffee, then who cares? Really? I mean, and then for coffee shops too, it's not like I don't think they have to have their water dialed in perfectly unless they're advertising it like that. Like they're having like crazy pour overs on bar and you know, they want you to have the best experience possible, then go for it. I'm all about, you know, good water and having the right chemical balances and all the right minerals in it to make that coffee taste good. But other than that, no. Enjoy your coffee how you want to enjoy it. Yeah. You know, it is good to put good water, like especially in like your espresso machine. That way it doesn't get all backed up and there's all the funk in it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, I don't know why I was thrown off by the fact that like he was like doing all of these steps like that I don't do. Yeah. But I did appreciate that he was doing it because it was allowing me to learn like some of the ways that he intakes coffee, like as professional as he is. But like, I just found it so unnecessary. Like,
well, a lot of people do find it annoying because it is an annoying thing. Yeah. And especially when you're not in that industry. You're like, come on, coffee's coffee. Like people don't care. Just drink it. Just make it. Right. They don't even care about the quality of coffee. They just want to go, you know, Costco, buy a 50-pound bag of it and just put it in their system. You know, they don't really care. Yeah. Maybe. But I think, especially for him and what they were doing on that podcast, I think it was, I mean, he's one of the biggest coffee names in specialty coffee. Yeah. So I think he has that standard and he can't back off of that. Yeah. I think, and he does it for a living. And he goes on podcasts and shows and videos, and he's like this renowned, you know, he even used to compete back in the day before he got into like YouTube and everything. It's like, so I think you get there and it's just where it's at. Yeah. So, but for me and you and people that do love our coffee, and we push to have the best coffee that we have, that, you know, we don't have to be as crazy as that.
Yeah. Maybe it is just like an internal gripe, like, or maybe it's just like a jealousy thing. Like, why can't I be like that? Or, I don't know. Yeah, but I did find it interesting that he was using an AeroPress for making his coffee. Yeah. I didn't. For someone like him, I thought he'd have like something else, like something more elaborate than an AeroPress.
Yeah. I think he did AeroPress because AeroPress are really consistent. They're very hard to mess up, you know, because really you just grind the coffee, you put it in, you pour hot water on it, you stir it, and you press it down. Yeah. It's not like a pour over where you have to get everything perfect and, you know, you have to do the certain amount of grams of water over it, do 2 to 5 pours, and hopefully you get it right. And hopefully the water temperature is right. And there's so many variables to go into it. But when there's just an AeroPress, it's kind of like your French press in a way, where it's put the coffee in, put hot water on it, press it. Yeah. And really the only variable you have to really think about is water temperature, grind size, and how much measurements. So it's really easy. That's why you see a lot of people, that's why AeroPress is so popular, because you'll even see it in coffee shops. They'll have AeroPress on their menu because it's really easy to make, and you're going to get the same cup almost every single time. Yeah. It's not like you have to mess with all these variables that you have to do, like an espresso and all that.
Maybe one day, maybe another episode, we'll talk about like the different variations of how we can make coffee, or like coffee preparation. Because I am interested in the AeroPress. I never used it. Maybe we could bring one on, and maybe we could just even demonstrate one at some point. Yeah, if we have the ability to.
Yeah, for sure. I'll do it.
So
for sure.
Yeah,
I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
So other than coffee, and I kind of want to, if you want, like step outside of coffee for a second, and I kind of want to talk about your lifestyle and maybe like even like your weekly diet, what that looks like. Yeah. Like on your good weeks, you know, when you're like on point. What does a healthy lifestyle look like to you?
Good question. Yeah, I did want to bring that up actually. And healthy lifestyle for me, obviously the most important thing is the food that I intake in my body, in my daily life. I try to avoid any kind of sugars, added sugars, and my diet completely. Only water, if not coffee. Yeah. Or if not a latte. That's not true, because I do love an orange juice. I have an orange juice every day. Here's like the 3 things that I have every day without a doubt.
Okay.
Orange juice.
Yep.
Avocados. And coffee. I never go without eating those 3 things. Okay. And I think that's been going on for a very long time. Okay. Other than that, I do like cooking. And when I cook, it's kind of like the regular standardized like meals that anybody can make, but we try to make it as healthy as we can. Like we'll make like a pasta bake, or we'll make like tuna melts, but we're always making everything ourselves, meaning like we'll get the cans of tuna, we'll try to make some kind of like mix with it, or we'll pick out the bread, or we try to always make it ourselves or make it our own, so we know what's going in it. Cool. And try to add some kind of healthy factors into it. Yeah. And we also recently, we have a garden in our house, which is part of our backyard makeover or backyard maintenance. We try to add something from our garden to our dinners or our lunches. Nice. We have good amounts of tomatoes and lettuces. We have green beans. We have strawberries. So we try to eat a lot of fruit in the house. Nice. We try to make our own dinners, but when we don't, we kind of stick to like the same 3 like fast food places that we have in town, which is usually like In-N-Out, Chick-fil-A, or like this empanada spot that's by not Lindsay's, Eloise's, my daughter's dance class. Okay. So it's like usually those 3 things. We don't try to eat out at all. So yeah, like, and then I'm very specific to when I eat. I don't like breakfast food at all. I avoid it at all costs. I haven't eaten like a good breakfast meal in forever. I didn't know that. Yeah. So I don't like breakfast food at all. I don't know what it is about it. I do like eggs, weirdly enough. I just don't like everything else around it. So I kind of just avoid that entirely. Yeah. I do like a good sandwich. I try to make a sandwich every day when I get home from work. Okay. And at lunch, this is kind of like my downfall. At lunch, I'll either have a leftover, I'll have like a burrito from like Trader Joe's. Okay. The Trader Joe's is, I don't know if I'm falling out of love with Trader Joe's, honestly, because they're easy, fast meals that families can do, and it makes it feel like you're eating something healthy because you're getting it from a grocery store. But I'm coming to find out, I don't think that's entirely true. Because the more that you read into the ingredients, the more that you realize like there's a lot of stuff in that, in those fast, easy meals, you know. Right. And
Trader Joe's has branded themselves like they're a healthy establishment, which they are. There's a lot of things that they do they do a lot better than your generic like grocery store. Yeah. So,
but they do get you on those easy meals. A lot of grocery stores don't have that. If they are, they're like frozen. Whereas like they don't really have freeze anything unless it's like other easy meals or like lunches. But they have like burritos that aren't frozen. They're just refrigerated. They have like pastas, and they have pot pies and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, they got it all. It's just with their mark on it.
Yeah. So that's kind of like my lunches. Okay. I'm trying to get away from that. And then dinner, I barely have dinner. I'm not a dinner person. So I'm trying this thing, and it's not really anything apart from, I don't want my body to go through a digestive hurdle every day. Because again, with this lactose problem that I had, I just felt like I was shoving so much food in my body throughout the day. Right. It just didn't have time to digest. My big thing right now is my body just digesting the food that it's intaking. Okay. So I try to eat within a 4 to 5 hour time limit throughout the day, and then I don't eat again until the next 4 to 5 hour time limit. Okay. So that's why I eat lunch here, and then I'll go home, I'll eat a sandwich right away, and then I won't eat anything until the next lunch day. So it's been helping me because I feel sharper. I feel like I could do a lot more. Like my life is busy, and I do a lot throughout the day. If it's not coming here to do a podcast, I'm working, or I'm doing something with the coffee shop, or I'm doing something with Lindsay and Eloise trying to be a dad. Yeah. I feel a lot more focused when I don't have to think about food. Oh yeah. And when I'm eating within that time increment, I'm trying to eat as best as I can.
Right.
I also take vitamins too.
Okay.
Again, I know there's conflicting arguments against vitamins, whether they're good for you or they're bad for you. I don't try to take anything manufactured. I try to take organic, everything like vegetized,
Like
vitamins.
Yeah, plant-based.
Yeah, plant-based.
Okay.
So I do that.
What do you take? Do you mind?
It's, again, Trader Joe's Men's Daily Vitamin, but they do advertise it as organic. If not that, it's something that my wife gets for like when she used to do prenatal stuff or prenatal vitamins. I forget what the brand is called, but that's also organic and all natural. So it's either Trader Joe's, if not that.
Cool.
But I like to take a vitamin just by the fact that like if I am missing anything throughout like the time that I'm trying to get this food intake, I'm getting it at least maybe through that. I don't know. Again, there's studies on it and there's conflicting arguments to it, but
always on anything there's gonna be.
Yeah. And then again, I try to avoid sugars and cookies and chocolate, but if Lindsay will tell you, be the first one to tell you, I have a sweet tooth. And I love chocolate, specifically like M&Ms. So like I'll buy the Trader Joe's trail mix. That's like prepackaged, right?
Yeah.
And I'll just have one of those a day.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like where my lifestyle is right now. And then obviously like I'll try to work out. Like I went on a run this morning with my daughter. That's kind of been our ritual on Monday mornings, is a good workout. We did that this morning. I was in the sun just running, nobody in the park. We're always alone because everybody's at school. She's going to start school soon. So
crazy.
I'm going to lose that, unfortunately, my running buddy. But we'll try to do
Run
it
by yourself.
Yeah, we'll try to do it like some other day, hopefully.
When she gets home from school.
Yeah, so that's kind of like my current health style, health status.
Cool.
A goal that I'm trying to get to is like 165 pounds. Again, I wanted to mention this as well. Just because like I tried actively to eat a lot, or I used to, and get big because I want to get bigger.
Yeah.
I can't. Sometimes I just can't do it, you know?
Yeah.
And like, when I say that, I don't want to like make it seem like, oh yeah, like I'm skinny, I just can't get fat. I try to, just for my health and like just my muscle mass. It's just
you don't want to put on bad weight. It'd be easy to put on bad weight.
Exactly.
You know?
So I always find it hard just to gain muscle mass, but I do want to get to 165.
Okay.
I've been consistently like rolling at 150, like for the most adulthood, like for the most of my life through adulthood.
Yeah.
So my goal is to maybe continue my diet, but I really need to start like pumping iron again and like getting into the gym or finding some other way of getting like weight training exercise. Cause I just feel myself getting weaker and my body's withering. You get old, your body goes through a lot. So I really need to catch up with that.
So by episode 50, you're going to be at that goal.
Let's go, baby.
Let's do it.
Hopefully I'm going to try. I think this would be like a good way of like kind of monitoring our health lifestyle and our health goals. Maybe I can mention it like every week on our podcast or something, but I'd like to ask you the same thing. You are obviously very fit. Ladies, I saw him without his shirt the other day.
My wife posted a video.
Yep.
At the beach.
And like I must say,
public. Gosh dang it!
I'm impressed. So how do you stay fit? Like how do you keep your head and your body physically and actively just like 100%, or at least try to get it to that?
I mean, gosh, man, and I know I always lean on this, so I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but just my lifestyle growing up was just you were pretty much fit as long as you were eating pretty much decent. You were gonna be fit. With all the things I did. So I was skiing a lot. I was rock climbing a lot. I played soccer almost all the way through my senior year of high school. After high school even, I started rock climbing even more. I started skiing more. Actually, I was more active after I graduated high school. So any of those sports are going to take you they're going to get you into a really good physical peak. And to be honest, you need to be strong to especially like rock climbing alone. It's like you're not going to pull yourself up a rock if you're not in shape.
Yeah.
You know, so I was always striving to not only look good, but just to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
I think my whole life I've dealt with pretty bad like anger and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And just being physically fit and doing physical stuff helps so much with just like my mental.
Mm-hmm.
So I would always strive to be there. And like even nowadays, if I feel like out of shape, I'm like, I'm not working out, or I'm not being physical enough, because it tolls with my mind, you know. So it's like if I don't feel good about myself physically, it's really hard to be like mentally positive and just like not frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
But that's probably just because that's how I felt my whole life. And as soon as I feel like kind of off or sluggish or anything like that, it's really hard to be there. Where some people, like I've met some of the happiest people I know that are out of shape and all that thing. So I'm not saying that it's for everybody, but just for my personal life, you know, I strive to just, I'm not saying just, I would say even like looking good. Yeah. Looking, you know, good and like an athlete build, I guess it feels good, but that's not my goal. It's more my goal just the way I feel internally. Mm-hmm. And how it plays on me with my mental. Mm-hmm. And I think I've mentioned before, but like I take anger management. I've been taking it for a while, and I think one of the first things my therapist asked me, he's like, what's your routine look like? What are you working out? Mm-hmm. He's like, how's your breathing? What are you eating? All those things. So it kind of ties in. If you do have like those problems there, then that is a big, you know, issue that you could have. Mm-hmm. So I strive to be the best I can be. I always want to be prepared for like, I mean, I do have my brothers, like my brother and his wife, and all my friends, a lot of my friends, they're just so active, you know? So I always want to like keep myself in that shape to where I could be like, oh yeah, I can go for a hike, or mm-hmm. oh, I can go play any sport. I can do whatever it takes, you know, for me to accomplish that. So that's just where I want to be, right? Mm-hmm. I don't want to be like, oh, sorry, like I'm out of shape now. I don't want to go do that. Yeah. You know, because it just doesn't feel good. Yeah. But that's just me personally. So I just like being there. And then other than like physical, just like in general, just like my diet, I guess you could say.
Yeah. What's your diet like?
My diet is pretty intense. Yeah. To your basic person, I guess. I think. And so. You've seen me eat. Like even at work, I mean, let's say you don't see me eat.
I've seen you not eat at work.
That's because every day at work I bring an apple, mm-hmm. a banana, mm-hmm. sometimes an orange, and then I always have like some type of protein bar with me. Yeah, like a good protein bar.
Do you eat breakfast?
Breakfast. Exact opposite of you. Breakfast is my favorite food.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, eggs are my favorite food.
So do you eat it in the morning before you come to work?
Monday through Friday, I don't really eat. Yeah. And I think that helps. Well, I'm eating right now because Brittany especially, she's like on this big old like health kick, and she's making like all this like bomb health food, and she's like doing all this like prep work for the week. She's doing meal prep for the week, mm-hmm. especially like with her breakfast and her lunches and all that stuff. So I am taking breakfast to like work and stuff, and
that's good.
Like I'll eat like a bunch of eggs or veggies or something like that. So that's cool. So recently I have been eating more. But before that, I guess I was just like eating banana. Mm-hmm. I would drink a cup of coffee, have like maybe another protein bar or something like that in the mornings. Yep. And then on the weekends is where I splurge a little bit more. And when I say splurge, I don't just like eat a bunch of sugar or like cakes and all that stuff. I just go heavy on breakfast. I'll eat like a bunch of eggs and meat and just like your generic, like good, like an omelet or something like that, like a bigger meal. Yeah. And then, but like really throughout the week, when I go home from work, you know, I snack a little bit, like on more fruit, like dried fruit and things like that. I am really hungry when I get home from work, so it is really hard, like especially when the girls have like all this, like their snack cupboard of like goldfish and all this stuff. It's really hard to like not, you know, dip my hands in there. So I'm pretty good at not going in there, but like if I do, I grab like a box of raisins or something and just like eat those. Yeah. I eat a lot of yogurt and not just your generic yogurt that has a lot of sugars in it, but I eat like a lot of plain Greek yogurt. So that's high in protein. My diet's really high protein.
Yeah.
Like that's my goal. Protein is king.
Yeah.
Like it really is. Even my wife has learned like protein is king in everything. If you want to lose weight, if you want to build muscle, eat protein.
Yeah.
Everything else, get rid of it.
Yeah, you can.
You know, it really. And especially like lean meats with chicken, and like you guys eat tuna, and I eat like canned chicken, stuff like that. So I eat a lot of high protein first. Eggs are probably one of my biggest consumptions. I don't eat too many vegetables, which is weird. I kind of have a weird feeling about vegetables.
Oh, really?
Like I like bell peppers and like onions, stuff like that, those types of veggies. But when it comes to like greens, like salads and stuff, I kind of don't mess with it.
Yeah. It's just a leaf after all.
I kind of think it's like foo-foo, man. I think it's like just like I think it's a lot of, it's like when people think they want to lose weight, they just go like, oh, I'm going to eat salads.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go eat salads. It's like,
We like roasted veggies. We don't do
roasted veggies. Like those type of veggies are so good. I love that type of stuff. But when it's like greens, I don't really mess with them unless they're green beans. I love like green beans or like zucchini. Then yeah. But I do eat a lot of fruit, probably too much fruit. That probably like spikes my blood sugar like crazy because I do eat a lot of fruit. So I do tend to, and I'll know it too. Like I'll go grub down like a half thing of grapes, you know, and I'd be like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
That's interesting. I'm not a big fruit eater, so I don't really know like the downsides of eating fruit because I don't eat too much of it.
Yeah, fruit, it's not going to kill you, but it definitely can spike your blood sugar, especially if you're sensitive to it, and if you're not active. So if you're eating a lot of fruit, then just make sure you're like a lot of athletes. They eat a lot of fruit because you're gonna sweat it out. You're gonna use it as energy because it is sugars. So eat a lot of fruit. What else is there that I eat? I eat like a lot of canned like beans and like garbanzo beans. Like one of my go-to meals is I'll do like canned chicken, garbanzo beans, avocado, and then like pepperoncinis inside and just like a bunch of salt and just like grub it down.
That sounds good.
So I have, my wife will make fun of me because I could honestly open a can of beans, like kidney beans or something, and just eat it.
Oh, dang, you will?
Yeah. And I love it. I love it. Not only because I get in this weird mental state of if I'm eating a healthy food, no matter the taste, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like even beans, like even if you eat a can of beans, it's not like, it doesn't really taste that good. But I enjoy it so much because I believe it's doing so good for me.
Yeah.
You know, even like coffee. Even if I don't have the best tasting cup of coffee, I still enjoy it.
Same.
You know, so. And then beyond, that's pretty much my diet. You know, I stay away from, like I said earlier, I stay away from especially artificial sugars, sweeteners, oils, any additives, preservatives. I tried sticking to like that caveman diet. Say like if a caveman could have eaten it, then that's probably what I'm eating. That's like the stuff I lean towards. So yeah, it makes you feel good. And
yeah, do you have any like goals? Like where do you want to see yourself? Like say in a year? Like no, I don't think anybody's like really satisfied like with their health or like their body or their mental state. Do you have like any type of goal that you're trying to get to?
No. Not really. I feel pretty good right now.
Okay, well, yeah.
If anything, I want my endurance to go up a little bit. Okay. So I just started running. You actually motivated me because you started talking about running and your daughter running, and I was like, oh man, I should like physically I look good, but my like internals probably aren't as healthy as they should be, like my heart, my organs, and stuff like that. So I was like, let's start running a little bit more. So I started running last week, which has been nice. I'll go for a run probably tomorrow. Start implementing that, get my endurance up, especially like when I go on hikes and stuff. I want to be like physically fit for those.
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, Lindsay and I, when we went to Peru, we were climbing Machu Picchu, and what we did was a lot of endurance stuff. And compared to like all the other group that we were with, we kicked their butt as far as like getting up the mountain and getting up everything.
Nice.
And it felt good. Like we felt like, oh yeah, we're
like, yeah.
I mean, not only like physically capable, but mentally capable to do something like that.
Yeah.
So people actually had to get like donkeys and horses to get up there. I was like,
Yeah.
This was cake to us.
Mm-hmm.
Going down sucked because it's high elevation. So I got elevation sickness.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this topic today. I mean, is so, I think, important to both of us because you and I, outside of the podcast, we talk about our health often because it means much to you as it means much to me. And I think you and I could, like you said, I motivated you, you motivate me every day just by like your presence and you being here and you're giving your 100% effort, because things that we do here, it's physically trying on your body. Some of the things like lifting up these big coffee bean bags.
Yeah.
You could do it with ease and like that's motivation in itself, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's good for you and I to like be there for each other. It's something that we have in common. And I just love this topic so much because like it just reminds me like you're not alone in like this health goal or this health journey that you're at. Like if you don't have any family members, you have friends, or you could find communities to be like a part of, like yoga classes or like jogging classes or something like that. So
yeah, you got to do something.
Yeah,
because it does get busy and you know it's hard to find a routine. But once you establish it and make time for it, it's a lot better. You know, so yeah, surround yourself with those people, especially that push you, motivate you.
I agree. But as we die down, that was the health episode. There's a lot of other things I want to get into, but I think we should, like, again, maybe if we want to, just like give our status on our health or our goals or whatever, and like what we did like, on the weekend. But anyways.
Yeah, I think I have a really good guest speaker.
Oh, really?
For another episode, for maybe related to health and wellness. I won't say who it is, but yeah, I have a good idea.
Okay.
I'll tell you after. But
awesome.
yeah,
But
that'd be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll try to get him or her in as soon as we can.
Yeah, let's do it.
So that was another episode of Grind Culture Podcast. Thank you for watching, tuning in, however you're watching us. Have a good day.
Yep.
Peace.
Peace.